Okay, well, big success. I have this whole campground to myself on this absolutely beautiful day. I'm so happy about it. All right, well, I'm going to take my time and just get this camp all set up and then have some fun today. On this trip, I pretty much decided to make a lot of the food ahead of time, but we'll be grilling some good things. But for lunch today, keeping it real simple, right to the basics. Just a sandwich with meat and cheese. This evening, I intend to ride my mountain bike around this area. Just kind of get a faster tour of things, get a better feel for what I want to go kind of explore in more detail tomorrow. No chance of rain tonight. However, tomorrow night there are chances of thunderstorms. So we'll see how that plays out. But those are problems for future, Greg. Right now, I think I'm going to get up, get ready for a bike ride. All right, I just scooted on down to the Calumet Trail, seeing if anything good pops up along this way. Perhaps the prettiest tree this time of year in these woods is the serviceberry. Serviceberry looks very similar to a plant you see in urban settings called the Callery pear, and they're very closely related. The Callery pear, however, is from Asia, and so it's non-native, and unfortunately it's become invasive. There's no good reason to be planting Callery pears when there is an equally attractive native plant in the serviceberry. The differences between the Callery pear and the serviceberry are pretty subtle. The serviceberry has smoother bark, and its flowers have longer, more slender petals. Some of the flowers are already bearing out fruit. The fruit will become ripe in June. This plant's also known as a Juneberry. The berries are edible, and I find them to be quite tasty. brats are looking good, and it's time to get this little stove going. I found cooking up the onions and the green peppers best. A little bit of brewski. Alright, well that's your final product right there. The peppers and onions are perfect. I actually overcooked the bratwurst. It's still delicious though. Oh yeah, I am gonna have a full belly tonight. It was really lovely to sleep in that cold. I checked my phone and it said it actually got down to 36. The sleeping bag's definitely not rated for that cold. I had to take my coat and cover myself up a little bit here. But other than that wake up in the middle of the night, it was good. It really was. Well, I've seen a lot of montages for making coffee, so here's mine. So that is some nice coffee. All right, time for breakfast before a day of exploring the woods today. I forgot a number of things on this trip. Most disappointing just being bread of all things. I was going to make a little grilled scrambled egg sandwich, and then for lunch I was going to make up some grilled tuna salad. Had that all prepared, and sure enough I forgot to bring bread. But we'll make do. Now the rest of the green peppers and onions, they've been stinking up my cooler pretty good, so I'm going to use them just to be done with them. You're familiar with the cooker from last night. Just load it up with a bunch of twigs and light it, and then deal with a high variability of temperature. You know what, it's a little windy today. Let's give it a little help. Well, so unlike last night, where my strategy was to use beer to cook the onions and the green pepper, I'm gonna cook everything this morning up with a nice heap of butter. All right, there we have it. Breakfast. Oh, delicious. You know, I forgot to add salt. And man, that cheese in there and the onions and green pepper make it so good. Maybe I don't need salt. Or, new opinion, why bring salt and pepper if you're not going to use it? That's a good breakfast right there. A little bit of veggies adds some crunch. The cheese in there adds some great flavor. Just the protein I need for a big day today. Well, what I'd like to do today is identify a bunch of plants. And to do that, you kind of need to see their flowers. That's not always true. But flower morphology really is the thing to help you identify plants. When I was riding on the Calumet Trail yesterday, I did not see a lot of them. So what I've done is drive a couple of miles away from Lake Michigan, which means it should be just a little bit warmer. And I'm also coming to a place that gets a lot of good south sun. So hopefully that means some of the spring ephemerals might be out on this trail, whereas they weren't up on the trail over by the campground. So, let's see what we see. So I came upon a little something here between this little forest of mayapple plants and approaching a large beech tree. All of the individuals I saw for this plant had an umbel, a single umbel for their inflorescence, and then just one whorl of 3 leaves. The flowers have 5 white petals and 5 stamens. The anthers on the stamens are also white, and they are pretty pronounced given the size of the flower. The leaves are no more than about 10 centimeters long. They are palmately compound with 3, sometimes 5 leaflets. The margins are serrated, and I would say the surface is finely hairy. Unfortunately, my current plant identification skills consist of scrolling through pictures on iNaturalist. I could not find this one in there. Given all the characteristics, I have a suspicion it could be Apiaceae, but that doesn't narrow it down to the genus, and I'm not even confident that it's Apiaceae. Just taking the trail back to the car, minding my own business. First prairie trillium of the year. As we get closer to the car and closer to the road, all of a sudden there's all sorts of flowering plants everywhere. Oh, and what do you know? First foxy floxy of the year. The blue phlox, the prairie trillium, and these other spring ephemerals that I'm seeing are all very common in the Chicagoland area. These plants are all taking advantage of the abundant sunshine that's hitting the ground right now. When summertime comes and the leaves on all the trees have grown out, this area is going to be quite shaded. For my evening bike ride, I decided to head a couple miles north to the Lake Michigan shoreline. The beaches along the Great Lakes are as beautiful as any I have traveled to. Only trouble is the water is pretty cold for much of the year. Well, I'm located where that Interstate 94 sign is, down towards the right there. So it looks like this stuff should all blow out. We can certainly see it from here. The seagulls seem to know it. I can smell it in the air. Rain's coming. Well, this isn't the first and it won't be the last time that a weather app on my phone got the future radar wrong. Usually the opposite is true, where it predicts rain and rain doesn't happen. And they do that for engagement. You'll keep clicking to see if it's going to rain or if rain's nearby, and you're going to see their ads. But in today's case, I just got really unlucky where I got a direct hit when it was predicting it wouldn't hit me. All right. That rain has finally stopped, and now it's time to cook some dinner. Gonna be eating some steak and some asparagus tonight, and the first thing I want to do in this process is to get some salt and pepper on that steak. Quote my buddy Mike, you can't oversalt a steak. Well, my strategy here, and I sure hope this works, is I'm gonna sear the steak in that pan and then use those steak juices to cook up this asparagus. All right, that is nice and hot in that pan. Time to throw it in. Okay, real nice. Let's see, just got this thing seared up on both sides. Now I'm gonna move this steak on over to the grill for some slow cooking and a little bit of cherry smoke. Yeah, let's get our stovetop nice and hot again. All right, asparagus time. Wow, what can I say? What a beautiful cap to just an awesome day. It's 5 in the morning. No more rain for the rest of the night. However, I see lightning and hear thunder off in the distance, and just happened to look at the radar, and it's coming again. So I'm gonna call it a wrap on this trip. Bye now.